What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin back with another JRPG game review. Today I'm reviewing Ni no Kuni, The Wrath of the White Witch, which is a 2013 game developed by Level 5 Inc., published by Namco Bandai Games America. So, this was... I didn't get a PS3 when it first came out. I got PS3 way later, right? But when I did eventually get a PS3, this was like literally, I think this is like literally the first game I bought for it, because you know, everybody, when this game came out, everybody was like, this is the best, like, oh sorry, the stupid mic was up. I probably should have checked. But like everybody was like, this is the best JRPG on the PS3, right? Which it is the best looking JRPG, right? The graphics for the game is beautiful, man. The CGI models has this cell shaded look to it. And even like this game is like 9 years old, right? And it still looks perfect, right? Like it's a beautiful, amazing looking game, right? So the game had animation, and I think I don't know if they did the character designs, but it has animation from Studio Ghibli. And the animation looks great, but I wish there was more. Right? They didn't even do like the final cutscene of they didn't even do like a final cutscene for the game, right? The final cutscene of this game is CGI. Like there's like, I think there's only like if there's more than like 5 minutes of animation from Studio Ghibli, I would be surprised, honestly. Because it was very far and few between, right? Which I forgot to mention, this game was originally a Japanese-only DS game that was ported and, well, it was remade for the PS3, right? And the game is like a mix between turn-based and action RPG, where you can move around, right? But your character can move around, but you have to press commands, right? And then there's a cooldown, right, for said commands. So you can't constantly attack, you can't constantly block, you can't spam spells. There's a cooldown for everything, right? So before I get into the combat of the game, right, I should get into what the story for this game is, which everybody should probably know this. But the story for the game is, you're a boy named Oliver living in Motorville, which is like a 1950s-esque American-looking town, right? And one day, while test driving your best friend Phil's car, derby car, whatever that he made himself, your mother, who has a British accent, right, has a heart attack and dies, leaving you all alone, right? And while crying over his dead mother being gone, his tears brings to life his doll named Drippy, who is revealed to be the High Lord of the Fairies, right? Who was imprisoned in the doll form by the evil genie Shadar, and he tells Oliver that, you know, he's from another world, right, where this evil dark genie, or Jinn as they're called, you know, is threatening to destroy the world, and has imprisoned him, and has imprisoned the soul of the great sage Alicia, who bears a striking resemblance to your mother, right? And our world and their world, there's something called soulmates, and whatever when something affects one of the soulmates in one world, it affects the soulmate in the other, right? So you get told by Drippy that, you know, if you go into his world and save and defeat the Dark Jin Sadar and free the Great Sage Alicia, which there are 4 Great Sages, right? You could perhaps resurrect your dead mother, right? So you're given like a wand, and there's lots of spells that your character can use, which you get throughout the game, right? Which one of the coolest features of the game is the spell book, which is an actual book that you can read page per page, and it has a beautiful, like, beautiful illustrations, right? And has like everything from like your spells, your beast encyclopedia, to stories, like, you know, folk stories, giving you info on the history of kingdoms and like regions of the world. It has everything, right? So you go to the world, you have spells, right? And you can summon you're a familiar, right? Which gives the game like a Pokemon monster battle aspect, where you can, instead of you yourself fighting, which you're a wizard, so you have shit attack, right, and shit HP, you can summon like a monster to fight for you, which your monster's HP and MP is linked to your HP and MP. So whenever like he takes damage, you take damage. Whenever he casts a spell, you know, that comes out of your MP, right? And you know, as you play the game, you get more and more familiars until you recruit another party member, right? Which I forgot her name, who is the daughter of another sage, Rashad. I can remember his name, but I can't remember like my female party member's name. She has the ability. Not only does she has her own familiar, right? But she can also, once you get her, you can tame other familiars, right? Right, which is cool. And you know, the familiars, right? You can boost their specific stats by giving them treats, right? And you can also after they get to a certain level, give them like an item, and allows them to basically evolve like a Digimon game, which here it's called I can't pronounce it, but it's basically evolving, right? And you can have 2 stage, like they can evolve 2 more times, and one of them, the final stage, it branches between 2 like forms, right? Which is pretty cool, because like that gives you an incentive to go out and catch, like, you know, the same familiar again, to like, you know, get that the other form, right? Which is pretty cool. But yeah, like the main like meat and bones of the game is the story, but outside of the story, there's lots of stuff to do. Like, you have the side quests that you can do, right? Which if you like complete them, you get like stamps that go on your that goes on your merit badge or whatever, and if you collect enough of them, you can unlock features of the game, like to run faster, to jump, like stupid shit like that, right? To get more glimpse and battle, which are little like health, they're like little like health and MP, like, you know, boosts, right? To recover some of your HP and MP, right? But yeah, like the main thing about the game you're gonna play is for the story, right? Which, this is an open world RPG. You can and you can get a ship at one point, and you can even fly. Though there's supposed to be a spell that lets you fly brooms, right? I never got that. It wasn't until, like, you know, you get the pet dragon Tengri, which you can summon with a horn, that I was able to fly, you know, around the game, right? But yeah, let's just go into my likes and dislikes right, about the game, right? Like, the graphics were amazing, right? You have the huge collectability aspect of the game with the different familiars that you can collect. You have the open world RPG with side quests, right? Though you don't get a lot of party members, you only get 4 party members, not including the familiars, which each party member can carry 3 familiars into battle, but you can only summon them one at a time, right? And you have 3, like, you know, 3 reserves that you can get, but they don't only your familiars that you keep, that you have you know, slotted for battle, gets experience, right? So your familiars and your reserve, and at the, like, familiar retreat, which is the storage, they don't get experience at all. But yeah, like, you only get 4 party members in the game, and the final party member you don't get until, like, the final stretch of the game, which is, like, and I only had him for, like, I think, like, 5 hours, because, like, or sorry, 5 or 6 hours, which I beat. This game took me like 55 hours to beat, right? And the final boss was fucking bullshit, as always, right? Which I was like, fuck it, I'll just play it on easy mode. It's Christmas Eve, I want to beat this fucking game already, right? Which the game does is bullshit, where the thing is, the game's called Wrath of the White Witch, right? So I know that I knew that Shadar was probably not going to be the final boss of the game, especially since this is a level 5 game, and they've already had, like, a game where the main bad guy was an evil genie, which was Dark Cloud 1, which I actually played and beat Dark Cloud 1. Dark Cloud 1 is actually a good game if you haven't played it. Right? So I should have known that fucking guy wouldn't have been the final boss. But since it was a free stage boss battle, right, I thought it was going to be the final boss. And maybe, like, the Wrath Witch, the White Witch, maybe the villain of the fucking second game. Which I played a little bit of the second game. That second game is more of an action RPG, right? And I use all my good healing items, right? Which you're gonna fucking need lots of healing items, because, like I said, there's a cooldown every time you use a fucking command, right? So what do you think you're gonna need to do? You're gonna need to have lots of fucking healing items in this game, right? So yeah, I use all my good healing items, and turns out, oh fuck, he's not the final boss of the game. That was fucking bullshit. And that when you beat him, you get this beautiful, like, you know, animated, like, cutscene by Ghibli that they didn't do for the final, when you actually did fight the final boss of the game. Which there was a plot twist in the game that I kind of saw coming, but I didn't, because I thought the plot twist was going to be that, oh, your mom, right, was actually the White Witch or something. Like, she was soulmates with the White Witch or something, because they both sound the same, like, because they both have British fucking accents, right? Which is a lot of British accents in the game, right? Which the game isn't fully voice acted, but when there is voice acting, it is pretty good, right? But yeah, I was wrong about that. But yeah, the plot twist with the mom did work though, right? But yeah, like, that fucking sucked, and that sucked. But yeah, like, the story was good, I would say. Like, overall, the story's good. My only problem with the game is the combat fucking is not good. Honestly, it's good. The boss battles and stuff is like, it's really fucking, the cooldown really fucking annoys you. It is annoying, especially since a big attack will come, right? A big attack will come, and I can't fucking have my party members and my character defend because I'll be in the middle of a fucking spell or using a fucking healing item, and I'll just get wrecked. Which a big component of this game is knowing when to defend from big attacks, right? So that's fucking sucks. And your party members are fucking useless. They're only good for as decoys to draw enemy fire while you're like you're attacking or you're healing, right? That's the only good they're fucking good for, because like otherwise they're fucking useless, your party members, right? That's another fucking problem with the game, is the party members are fucking bullshit, and you can't really give them commands other than all out attack or all out defend. Which, even though when you press the button to defend, it still still takes them a while to defend. So you could press the button right before, like, you know, a big enemy attack, but you know, if they're not ready to defend after getting told to defend, they're gonna get fucking wrecked by whatever big attack fucking comes. So that was, yeah, that the combat, like the party members fucking suck in this game. Combat sucks in the game, but like I said, there is a fucking easy mode that you can use in the main menu. Sorry, in the options menu, right? So like whenever you're up against a fucking boss that's fucking hard, you just fucking, who gives a shit? Let's play on easy. But yeah, that's my main problem with the game. My main problem is with the game is other, like even though the game's beautiful game. Like, honestly, it's a 9 out. Besides from my nitpicks, it's a 9 out of 10 game. But my main problem with the game is that aesthetically, even a story-wise, this game is, and this is where you can tell this game was originally made for people, like originally a handheld game, because the game is like marketed for kids, but the game is too hard for kids. And because it's like, and there's also the fact, because there's no like adult characters for me to like, you know, like there's like no real cool characters. Like there should have been at least one cool male, like cool party member character in the game for me to be like, oh, like I want to play as them. There's none of that until like the second game. Like the game is too much for market towards kids, and that's probably why it wasn't until the fact that I was, you know, I had to do a game review for this game that I never got more than like 5 or 10 hours in the game. Because even though the story's good, the aesthetics is good, you know, this game is too much of a kid's game, even though it's way too hard for fucking kids. Especially some of the fucking puzzles, which the puzzles in this game are fucking bullshit. Right, which I would have to look up videos on how to fucking, you know, solve. And even like one of the, you know, some of the Horus's riddles, which Horus is like a ghost of a dead mage who gives you like, you know, riddles, right? And if you solve them, like, he'll give you spells to add into your spell book, right? And like one of them was translating a dead language that there's an alphabet for in your fucking like spell book, right? So I wrote down the letters, right, in the alphabet, and then like translate it, and I couldn't. I would have to input it into like the fucking game, right? And despite the fact I literally had a fucking book where I would mark down what the fucking Nazian letters was, and then pull up the menu and then try to translate it. I wouldn't be anywhere close, and then I would look it up, and it was like that was nowhere near what the fucking letters like nowhere near what the fucking letters looked like, right? Or some fucking shit, right? That shit was fucking annoying. But that's the thing where, like, if you have this is one of those games where, like, unless you have a guide, you're probably not going to be able to beat, right? Which I fucking hate that shit. If I have to look up shit to beat a game, right? Especially a game marketed for kids, that takes like a point from the game. So, like, honestly, this game, aesthetically and story-wise, it's a 9 out of 10. But with its problems with the combat and the puzzles and shit, like, this game's a 7 out of 10. But it is a 9 out of 10. Like, for a lot of people, this game's gonna be a 9 out of 10, right? But, like, to me, it's a 7 out of 10 because of the problems. But yeah, but like I said, like, if people, like, I could see why people would be like, this is one of the best fucking games on the PS3, right? Especially since the PS3 doesn't have Lost Odyssey and, like, Blue Dragon and shit. Which Lost Odyssey probably the best fucking JRPG of that generation. Right, but yeah. Yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Peace. Our next game review is, I did a poll, and depending on which wins, we're gonna do a separate poll where we pick the game. Well, you guys vote for the game, right? Because, like, for my next game review, I'm either gonna do a Warhammer 40k game or an anime or RPG based off an anime, and depending on which wins, then we'll do a separate poll where you get to vote for the Pacific Warhammer 40k game or anime RPG. So that's it for this review, guys. Peace.